So we got a few things to cover here today on the Transformer Slag podcast. We're going to jump right into it. First, we got, once again, leaking out of the factories. Hey, let's just drip drop you just a little bit more of that Transformers Age of the Prime molds that we already saw. Hey, you got Red Alert with no head and prototype, test shot, early mold colors. Well, how about no head, but now with a whole bunch of colors? Yeah, sure, okay. The only thing that really matters to me is I want to see the doors for the vehicle mode, because I need to see what's going to be happening with those Red Cross logos, which they're probably going to use a generic one like they've done with the past with Ratchet. But what's going to be happening with that? So once again, we got another headless Red Alert of the Age of the Primes Voyager class Armada Red Alert. Hopefully we'll get some better images as we move forward, or we're going to get more of these little drips here. Just a little bit of this, just a little bit of that. But let's get into the bigger news today on this amazing Wednesday. We have for JT Prime 17, a very credible source here in the Transformer fandom, dropping way more listings in our lap, although some of them have some updated information on stuff we've reported before and even some weird contradictions. We'll get into that in a moment. But a lot of interesting stuff here. First thing we're going to cover is a continuation on what's happening with the NFL collaboration. We talked about how Hasbro is going to have a whole bunch of collaborations moving into 2025, and NFL football is going to be one of them under the Project Sports NFL collaboration. And supposedly, this is wild if this is true, supposedly it's going to involve having all 32 teams involved, all the teams. That's pretty crazy. I mean, are they just going to take one mold that's a football player-shaped Transformer and just do 32 repaints? That's some Seeker-level stuff going on right there. Actually, I don't even think the Deluxe Class Starscream Seeker mold got 32 repaints. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I got to look into that. But man, 32 repaints, if that's true. That's pretty crazy. I mean, the way I see it, I'll pick up one. Maybe I'll pick up, I don't know, the 49ers or something, get some of that Joe Montana action going on 30 years after the fact. But very interesting. The way I could see how this could be done, it might be a little infuriating to completists, but it would be something interesting to do, is if they do all 32 teams, each one of them might be only exclusive to, like, let's say, the gift shop of each stadium that those teams are at. That'd be pretty wild. And that would create like a whole crazy secondary market for people that live in those cities, that they could just go and get this Transformer and then put it on eBay. Very, very unique thing if they do that. I'm not saying they will, but man, if they do all 32 teams, that's a lot. That is a lot for one tooling. Then we have a Generation Selects. We talked about this slightly and we kind of gave our 2 cents, but now we have an update that this will be a Generation Selects Leader Class 2-pack of Generation 2 Autobot Dinobots Slag. They listed here as Slag, but it's clearly Slug. Slag's the name that we used to go by. Now we own it here on the podcast. But G2 Slag and a G2 Dinobot Snarl. So this is pretty cool. Again, we talked about it before. I have a theory that the G2 Slag will be green and the G2 Snarl will be maroon, because while both of those molds back in the day in 93 had a lot of different variations, gray, they had the gray Dinobot colors, they had maroon for both of them, they had green, so they had all these variations, and you just pick which ones you think they'll work with. I think it's going to be green for the Slag and maroon for the Snarl. And man, a Leader Class 2-pack, that's pretty heavy on the price tag probably, and that's why it makes more sense for it to be a Generation Selects item instead of a retail product, because if it was 2 liters and that, man, that's a big hefty price point. Then we got some Target exclusive stuff here. This is originally rumored as a 4-pack. They have it listed here as a 2-pack, and then JT Prime mentioned some other stuff that then brings it back to being a 4-pack. I don't know what's going on here, but we'll mention what is confirmed for this set. We have a G1 Hori-Bull, the Headmaster Jr., that is going to be a repaint retool of the Titans Return Skull Cruncher or the Croc mold. This I could see happening because, I mean, back in 2016, We had that little Titan Master standalone with vehicle Hori-Bull figure, and they had the trademark back then. They need to use the trademark now. It's been 4 years. They refreshed it. Now we're coming on the end of the year. So it only makes sense that they use that trademark. Anyone who's been listening to the podcast knows how this works. So they already have the Headmaster mold, that little Titan Master. So they just need to retool a body. And I guess they're going to use the Skull Cruncher here and make one more Headmaster Jr. And I'm totally cool with that. The second part of this 2-pack is another one that's pretty much a given. They're going to take the Transformers Animated Voyager Class United Optimus Prime that we got, and they're going to give it the Transformers Animated Nemesis Prime treatment. So that one's a no-brainer. You got an Optimus mold, you're going to paint it every color of the rainbow, and that's definitely going to happen. It's a great mold, so all for it. Black repaint, great Optimus Prime mold. That's going to be a sale right there. Now, assuming that this isn't a 2-pack and it is a 4-pack, JD Prime teased at potentially might be the other 2 members of this if it's a 4-pack, and it's that of a deluxe class Target Master Sure Shot, finishing off the Target Masters in at least one shape or form of the Core 3, and a Core class Beast Wars Dinobot, another one that kind of like fell into obscurity as a listing and now is finding a place here. This is all just rumors. Don't take those last 2 as, gospel. But it is stuff that was teased by JT Prime 17, so chances are they might be legitimate. And this would make more sense as a 4-pack from Target, because those 4-packs that we get from Target always had a very interesting mix of characters and backgrounds of like different universes and continuities of Transformers. So having like a Titans Return Hori-Bull, which has a little bit of Master Force, but also late G1, Transformers Animated, Target Masters again, so Headmasters era, early G1, Beast Wars with the Core Class Dinobot. Very interesting mix. I'm fine with it, in all honesty. It sounds cool, and it's another one that I'd be interested in picking up. Then we have some Transformers Age of the Prime stuff. So we have... This one's weird because it has here listed as a Transformers Age of the Prime's Leader Class Micronus. Now, when we had our earlier listings of Micronus, he was listed as a deluxe, and that made sense. Micronus is supposed to be small. So... why is it listed as a leader here? And what even more so makes me feel that this leader part might be a mistake is because it says it's going to be Micronus based off of his Robots in Disguise 2015 design. So Micronus appeared in Robots in Disguise 2015, that series, and he had a animation model that, in my opinion, looked a lot like Transformers Prime Ratchet, the Autobot. And I feel that if this is still a deluxe and the leader part is a mistake, and they are going to base it off of this 2015 iteration, it's just a backdoor also to get a Transformers Prime Ratchet at some point. I mean, just put those designs side by side, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And it would make sense if it's a deluxe. If it's a leader class, that can't be Ratchet. It's very weird. Can't be. If it's a leader class, how is it Micronus? If it's a leader class, how would that be turned into a Ratchet? A lot of weird things going on there with that one. But let me know what you think. I don't know. Maybe I'm not seeing something here. And then we have a Transformers Age of the Primes Vector Prime, which he will be part of this line later in the line. But according to JT here, he's going to be a reissue of the United version Voyager class we already got, which is a shame. I'm kind of hoping maybe they do a slight repaint or retool to it, maybe give him an extra accessory just to, sweeten the deal. But I guess for people who might have missed out the first time during his initial run, they'll get a second chance during this Age of the Primes run. And like I always say, it's never the end. We'll get another Vector Prime in 4 years when that trademark rolls over, and they got to do something. And then the last thing in terms of Transformers Age of the Primes is because this weekend is, of course, the Cybertron Con in China. And they say here that Cybertron Con is going to be handing out a poster promoting Transformers Age of the Primes, and it'll feature all the 13 on there of the 13 Primes. So we'll get kind of a preview of what those designs will be. I imagine it's probably going to be something similar to those statues that we saw on the side of the box of Megatronus, aka the Fallen. So we will see what happens with that. Very cool. Again, it's something that is much, much overdue. We've been waiting for these characters in plastic form, most of them. So we're going to get one step closer to that. And the last thing is there's also going to be an announcement in spring of 2025 of the next Transformers HasLab item, whatever that'll be. Maybe we'll get a teaser at the Cybertron Con in China this weekend, maybe not, but they say here spring 2025 is when the big reveal will drop and then the backing will start. So very, very cool. And again, to reiterate, Cybertron Con China is this weekend, and the setup for the show, I believe, will be starting tonight, our time. It'll be the morning of Thursday for them in China. And then when we wake up Thursday morning tomorrow, maybe the dealer room will have at least some stuff set up, and maybe some photos will leak out of some future product. I know that there's a whole bunch of stuff already that's been starting to leak out over the past 24 hours, and we'll probably cover that tomorrow when we get more information and images and better quality stuff. But a lot of cool stuff we're going to be seeing this weekend, a lot of cool exclusives and everything, so stay tuned for that here on the Transformers Slag podcast. And once again, let me know what you think about all of this. A lot of wild stuff going into 2025. And once again, thank you for being educated, entertained, and informed on our beautiful hobby here on the podcast. And I'll talk to you, as always, in the near future.
More than meets the eye.